Hello, folks. Bradley J here with the Bradcast, and we're going to go live with Joyce Levine. Joyce Levine is not just an astrologer, but my favorite astrologer, a really highly experienced expert in astrology. Do a number of things. One, talk about what she does and how it works and why it works, and then certain situations of planetary alignments that may affect you. And if anybody's interested, we'll do they want to give us their birth date, time, and place, right? Exactly. Is that what the information they need?
Absolutely.
Birth date, time, and place. Well, hello, Joyce, and I'm so glad that you look so well during this difficult time.
Oh, Bradley, you're such a sweetheart. It's always nice to see you.
Oh, yeah, I
Even if
appreciate that.
first,
I
I like your
oh,
beard.
oh, you haven't seen the beard yet? Wow, it's been a long time. Oh, this beard. Yeah, I used to dabble with a beard, and Shannon, my significant other, said, "Look, just don't touch it. Don't mess with it. And then go to a professional. Just let it grow out like a bush. Then go get it carved up like a bush." And so now I only go to I don't touch it. I don't even shave down here or up here. Hands off. So thank you. Now, astrology. Tell us first for the uninitiated how it works. How, what do you do?
Okay, first of all, your chart is based on your date, your time, and your place of birth. So some people think, that when they know their sun sign, that's all there is, but it's really based on where all the planets are at your moment of birth. Um, what astrology gives you, it's sort of like your genetic makeup. It's like your astrological chart is a picture of your life potential. It it's not an accident that we have certain talents and abilities and maybe certain problem areas. And then, so the chart will show what your relationships are like, what your talents are, how you make or spend money, what your problem areas are, and ideally help you to understand what you can do about them. And then the second part is that life is cycles, and cycles are predictable. So this may be the best time of your life or the worst time of your life or somewhere in between. But having that information ahead of time helps you in decision making. So that's pretty much what I do when I see clients. And all of that is based on the position of the planets and how I interpret them based on someone's date, time, and place of birth.
Boston Bob, who's also named Levine, says,
Oh,
with a last name like that, she must be terrific. That's right. And Bob, by the way, Bob, I don't know if you checked your email, but I actually sent you and Wayne and Melinda an invitation to join us on the screen here because you are trusted, trusted guests. And if Bob or anyone else wants to maybe get a little bit of a reading, any birth date, time, and place, birth date, time, and place, exactly. Just give us the information. You can either do it live, Bob, or you can put it in the comments and I'll pop it up there for Joyce. I say, all right, now, how does, can you give a little more insight into the science of it?
well, Jung talked about synchronicity, how the planets where they are at this point is, it's like a picture of the universe is taken at your moment of birth, and then your life reflects that. So you could say there's synchronicity based on the interpretation. You could say that the planets exert, like a vibrational pull. Like, for instance, the weather patterns in the last few years have been pretty bad. Now, I'm not saying global warming doesn't exist, but when all of the outer planets are on one side of the sun, the weather patterns tend to change and get worse. So where the planets are, whether it's an energetic vibration or something else, to be honest, I can't explain exactly how it works. I just know that I see people every day, and based on their date, time, and place of birth, that is a reflection of their character.
So
And
through experience, you see over and over that these things tend to be true, even though people don't exactly know why. Historically, I mean, somebody must have noticed, hey, when these planets are doing this thing, this stuff happens, right? How far back does that go?
oh, I mean, we don't know exactly because they weren't keeping records at that point, but the Chaldeans, I mean, they looked at the planets as like omens. Like you asked before we got on the air, you asked me about eclipses. The ancient people saw eclipses as a dark omen. Do you know? Because the sky
Right.
becomes dark, and so they were looking at the sky forever. I think modern astrology is different because it used to be, like Queen Elizabeth, the first one, had an astrologer. Heads of state had astrologers. For the ordinary person, having an astrologer is relatively recent history.
Right. So Michael Parad has given us a date and a time, but he's given us a date and a year, but we need a time exactly as well, everyone. So date, time, and year. What are some other planetary alignments that really make a difference? I know that Mercury retrograde is always mentioned.
Yeah.
I remember Daryl Martini, the Cosmic Muffin, would tell me it would cause problem.
Mercury is actually retrograde right now, and I'm just looking to see what it's doing specifically today. But Mercury retrograde happens 3 times a year, and it tends to be a time frame when Mercury is a planet of thinking and communicating. It also rules mechanical and electrical items. So when Mercury turns retrograde, and what retrograde means is it appears to move backwards. It's not really moving backwards. It's just it's like if you're passing a car, the Earth is, Mercury and the Earth are passing one another. And so it appears that Mercury is moving backwards when actually it's not. But the retrograde time frame tends to be a time frame where there's more miscommunications. People are late for appointments. You want your computer backed up before then, just in case. Now, obviously, all of this doesn't affect everybody exactly the same way. So I had a client call me, last week. He does Mercury retrograde, is that affecting my chart? Because if it's not affecting your chart, it's not quite as bad for you. It was affecting his chart. So I advised him, not to do something he was going to do. Because it's also a time frame that you don't want to sign contracts and agreements. Because think of, contract is something that Mercury rules. And so you may find later that it wasn't such a good idea. I mean, years ago, I had actually a friend who was also a client. She separated from her husband, and she was buying a new condominium, and it was being built. And so she didn't listen to me. She signed the purchase and sale when Mercury was retrograde. It was supposed to be ready within a certain amount of time. And she moved into like temporary housing at the time at Charles River Park, which was, not a cheap place to have temporary housing.
Is that where it says, if you lived here, you'd be home now? Yeah.
At one point, I think they were also renting apartments. I don't know if they still do that. So the building wasn't done when she thought it was going to be done. When it was finally done and it was time for her closing, Mercury was retrograde again. Not good signs. So she didn't listen to me. She signed the purchase and sale. She moved in, and in not too long of a time frame, the developer defaulted.
Oh,
the building was never quite finished. And the people that were living there had to pay for things that they weren't supposed to be paying for. So it pays not to do things at certain times. And this particular Mercury retrograde is, quote, worse than normal. Because the retrograde started in Aquarius and moved back it's in Capricorn now. And during the time frame it's been retrograde, it's been near both Saturn, which would cause more delays, and an attention aspect to Uranus, which makes things even more chaotic. So that's kind of what's been going on the last few weeks. Not that things haven't been chaotic before then based on other cycles.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you and have a reading done or learn more about it, they can contact you right at the email shown above, joycel@joycelevine.com.
Yes.
joycel@joycelevine.com. And if someone does contact you, how does it work? You do it online, you do it in person? What do they
Well,
need to bring to the table?
we're in the area. I was doing it in person before COVID. If COVID calms down, I will do it in person again. But for people that don't want to, now I'm doing things either by phone or Skype. And I also have a lot of clients that are out of the area. So I would meet with them normally on phone or by phone or Skype.
What information do the people need to bring to the session?
At the time that we set up the appointment, I need the date, time, and place of birth because all the calculations are done before I speak with somebody.
I see. That makes it more efficient. And back in the day, pre-computer, you used to have to do all this calculation by
That,
hand
that,
or look in books and write stuff
yeah,
down on paper, but now you don't?
that's how old I am. I was
Right.
I was an astrologer before computers or before personal computers.
Right.
But yeah, I used to have to hand calculate everything. Now computers make it a lot easier, and it also makes it a lot easier to do certain projections that you might not want to do if you were doing by hand. So it becomes not just more efficient, but in a lot of ways more accurate.
So you have been doing this a long time. How did you happen to get into this? You weren't always an astrologer, and I'm always interested in the jobs people had before the job they
Oh,
have now. Did you wash dishes? What did you do? I washed
close.
dishes. I washed dishes. I was a dishwasher in the beginning.
No, I majored in psychology in college, and I was planning on taking a year off and then going to graduate school. At the time I got out of college, an undergraduate degree in psychology isn't worth very much, and it was worth probably less then. So I was going to take a year off because it's a long story, but I'd been working full time and going to school full time, and I was kind of burned out. And in that period of time, I moved to Boston. And a friend who had been studying astrology moved to Boston at the same time. So she took me to this astrology class.
I see.
And because I'm such a practical person, and particularly at that age, after one class, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I had to learn how to do it, and then you have to learn how to make money, which unfortunately are different skills.
Right.
So it took me 6 years in studying, and then I sort of hung out a shingle. Before that, I was a legal secretary.
Oh, wow. So are there certifications that one must get in different states
Um,
or not?
there are certifications, but they're not required.
I see.
I mean, I was certified by the American Federation of Astrologers in 1979.
Wow. How can you tell? I mean, not all astrologers are equal. Some are better than others. How can a customer or potential customer tell what the person, if the person they're checking out is good at it or not?
In a lot of ways, the best way is a referral from somebody who's seen them. But if you don't have that, take a look at people's websites. You can see what their credentials are. The other thing is you can get a feel for the person, or when you talk to them, you can see whether or not that person's energy meshes with yours at the time you call for the appointment.
Right.
But I mean, you should ask, are you certified? Because not everybody is, and you should ask who you're certified by. Like I actually have 2 certifications, one from the American Federation of Astrologers, and then for a long time I was on the board of the National Council for Geocosmic Research, which I've kind of retired from now, but I was on that board for like 20 years. And I sort of felt like I had to take their certification because I was on their board, even though I had another one. So I ended up being certified by the National Council for Geocosmic Research also.
Have you noticed any changes in your customers over the time? We've had certainly political changes, and people act differently now than they used to. They don't interact personally that much. Have you noticed a change in your customers?
I haven't noticed so much of a change in the people that see me, but I think that there's been a change. Oh, actually, that's not quite true. People are coming in younger than they used to. Like usually people didn't start questioning their life till they hit, or before this, till about 30. You know, that's something called the
Yeah.
Saturn Return, which from an astrological standpoint is kind of when you grow up.
How can
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
How do people apply the insight that you give them to improve their lives?
Well, I guess that depends on the person.
If they, optimally, I mean, what are some
I mean,
ways?
I mean, they can, I may offer suggestions for what they can do with the energy. So, for instance, if you have career turmoil coming up, this is not a good time to change jobs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, or on the other hand, I was talking to a client yesterday, um, or Tuesday, and she has fabulous cycles right now, and she's a consultant, and I said, this would be a really good time if you want to change jobs. This is the time to do it, and to do it in the next few months.
Okay. So we
So,
have, go ahead. We have Mary. I interrupted again. I
no,
apologize.
that's okay. It's better as an interaction than me just talking.
All right. So we have Mary, and we have some dates. You ready? We have
Yep.
some dates and times. Mary, May 4,
Okay,
19, May 4, 1957, 12:04 a.m.
all right.
May 4.
And where?
Of all places, Rome, New York. I think Rome, New York is where they held Woodstock 99 that I was at, which was, that violent, horrible mess. Is that right, Mary? Was that in Rome, New York, at the big air base? I think that big air base was significant in the economy of Rome, New York area. May 4, 1957, 12:04 a.m. So 12:04 in the morning.
My computer's acting up.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No, Mercury's retrograde.
Right. Mercury being retrograde again.
Um,
Mechanical stuff breaks.
this is telling me that there are 2 Romes in New York, one in Essex County and one in Oneida.
Oh,
Do you know which one?
I wonder if that is, which one, Mary? Which is it? If there are 2 Rome, New Yorks, we need to know that. Interesting. We could, if we don't get that,
I don't know how far apart they are.
we can guess. Maybe Rome is big enough so it extends into two counties.
I have no idea.
So you're seeing what? There are 2 Rome, New Yorks. One is. That seems weird. We're stymied, as they say. Mary, give us the which Rome. Let's just pick one.
All right, I'll just pick one. I'm picking Essex. I don't know if that's right or not.
Is that a county or a town?
It's a county. Rome.
Okay. All right. Maybe it's a town that goes into 2 counties.
Well, I think they may be separate. I don't know.
Okay.
What is this? Is very bizarre. I can't believe this. Wait a minute. My computer literally is acting up. Let me just do this again.
Sure.
Um,
By the way, hello to Michael. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Nothing is coming up on the screen. I can't believe this.
Oh, no, that's all right. Well,
You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to go into, I have 2 computers. So I'm going to have to go turn on the other computer. And
all right.
I think I can still talk. And I hope I can still talk in this one while I'm doing that.
That's okay. Even if we don't get to do somebody's chart, that was just a bonus.
This just doesn't happen to me.
It's Mary says it's the Oneida County one. Oneida.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll go back and
maybe it freaked out because of that. Do you keep your computer? Do you use wireless or do you keep it hardwired?
The computer's hardwired.
Yeah. For anybody who does online stuff like we're doing right now, hardwired is always best.
You'd think so. I
You
don't
can
know
get
why.
John
Let
Graham.
me
There's John
close
Graham. So
and
many questions, he says.
open it up again and see if it gets any better. I can't believe this. This never happens to me. I mean, this is a bizarre
Well,
thing.
Mercury and
Mercury's retrograde.
right.
Still, wait a minute, and I got to get in here.
So John joins us. He has so many questions. He's been looking for a break.
Does anybody have questions that are
General in nature. Yeah, John, give us a while the computer situation is being remedied. Why don't you? Do you have a general question about how it works? Let us know, or something that wouldn't require the computer. By the way, John, I've been looking.
If I didn't, when I closed out of the computer, it didn't. Wait a minute. Let me just see something. And now it seems to be fine, but I didn't keep the data. So,
all right. That's all right. So the Oneida County one.
Yeah, no, but I need the date again.
Yeah. It's May 4, 1957.
Okay.
Rome.
4, 1957.
12:04 a.m. Rome, New York.
All right.
By the way, too bad about the contestant last night on Jeopardy, right? What was her name? Amy? Everyone. I was hoping she'd get the record, but she got beat. It was sad. I was so sad that I had to watch it. Ugh, she was so cool.
All right, and now I have it. I don't know why it didn't come up before.
Okay. And so it's the Oneida County one.
Yep.
All right, here we go, Mary.
Did she have any particular questions or?
Nope, she did not. If you have a question, Mary, like something like, "Oh, I want to get a job. Will I get a job?" Or my relationship. I have trouble with relationships. Will I meet a special person? That kind of thing. Of course, some of that trouble with relationships is probably on you. It's probably not only the stars, right?
She is. Let me just go back here. Now I lost you. Oh, there you are. She is a Taurus with the moon in Cancer. So if she has children, she would be a very doting mother. Taurus and Cancer are the two most family-oriented signs in the zodiac. She's got to be a good cook.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not family-oriented, and I'm a terrible cook.
Well, but you're not a Taurus.
As far as you know.
Somebody that listens to your show told me you were a Sagittarius.
Maybe they are wrong, actually.
And you said it on air when not when I was on, but at a different time. And you wouldn't even tell me, but you talked about it behind my back.
So Mary says she wants to know if retirement might be a good option for her soon. So that's a decent question.
I think she'd be very comfortable in retirement.
What is it about her personality that makes you say that, and her stars charts?
I mean, I think because she knows how to relax. She's also very family oriented, so she probably, I'm assuming she's married and has children. I don't know if that's true or not. But if that's true, she probably has like an extended family and people that she takes care of. So she wouldn't be bored.
Okay.
And she can always find something to do.
I'm retired. By the way, I'm retired and I'm not bored. It's weird. I get up from the morning till dusk and I'm busy. It's weird. I don't know how I got anything done before at all.
If I wasn't working, I would be bored.
I would like, as far as work goes, I mean, if I had a show like on BZ once a week, that would be enough because I'm not bored. I think I was thinking about this in the shower the other day. Who does well in retirement? Who doesn't? People who are creative probably do well because then they have more chance to to learn and do and make stuff. I'm doing video, making music, making moccasins. That's a new thing.
Oh, that's a new thing. No belts.
No, I have so many belts and wallets that I have like 50. The inventory is just stacking up. So moccasins uses more. It's a challenge. They're gonna be. It's not really moccasins. I'm gonna trying to make slippers. I have all this leather to use up. Okay, so retirement. She could be. You think it might be good for
Yeah,
her in retirement?
you can enjoy yourself.
Good. All right, now John. Let's take a look at John.
All right.
John was looking for some financial relief in 2022. He's had a rocky couple of years. He's looking for some light at the end of the tunnel.
4, 6.
And we're going to get
1961, 6:38 in the morning. And where?
4-9. Actually, 4-9-61.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. So that's what without my reading glasses, I'm in trouble. All right. Okay. But where?
Hamilton, Ontario.
Oops.
That's got to be a big question for a lot of people.
Let me just see something.
You'd think that it would be easier to get a job now with people quitting their jobs, but it doesn't. It's weird. It doesn't seem to be that way.
He doesn't want any job. He wants to do what he wants.
All right. Is that what you find in his charts? He wants to do what he wants?
Yeah. Don't you?
Well, that's right. What he wants to do is be a voiceover person, because his big strength is his massive voice. If you could hear it, you'd understand. And he's been getting the runaround. Well, he's got the goods, and he hasn't been fortunate. We're going to find out, John. Let's find out. Here we go.
He's sort of still in a kind of an erratic time frame.
Oh no!
Yeah, I hate to say that, but
how long?
I'm going to have to look ahead. You know, has he thought about a career change at this point?
I don't know.
He may not want to, but you know, maybe it's. Let me just see this. I'm just looking ahead in my ephemeris to see.
You know, John, there's a lot of radio producer jobs. I think you'd be a good radio producer. I see them on Indeed all the time, because John's other big strength is he knows everybody, and he's really good at thinking of radio topics and finding the guests for them.
Very creative.
You hear that, John? Very creative. He's also handsome.
But he also wants to do what he wants. Does he have trouble with authority?
I don't know. John, do you have trouble with authority? According to the charts, you have trouble with authority, right?
Is he answering?
Not yet. Oh, it says, yes, I have. I don't know which question he was responding to.
Well,
so an erratic period of time, John, erratic. Not good.
I mean, actually, it should start to lighten up by May, but he's still in it now.
He can live with May. It's been long enough.
But you know, again, this might be a time that you want to think about a career change. Uranus, which is a planet it has to do with chaos, change, is around your ascendant in Taurus right now. And generally, and you've had over a period of time, you've had a lot of Uranus aspects, which are things that happen that are unpredictable, you know, maybe things that you didn't see coming. That is not quite over yet.
So May. So don't get too discouraged until after May.
But again, it may require doing something different.
That's pretty strong. You've said it, you know, you really seem to think that it might be the thing.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry.
John, you're very imaginative when it comes to thinking of topics and stuff. Maybe it's time to reimagine something that you'd really like to do, in addition to still pursuing the voiceover. I do that all the time. What would I like to do? I'd actually like to work in a hospital like I used to, maybe one day a week, or even an animal hospital. There's an Angel Memorial Hospital, and I like the animals, so I'm always
They have
thinking.
volunteer programs.
Yeah. Okay. You want to do one more? I know it's been a half an hour already, but
No problem.
okay. It's always fun. It's very relaxing hanging around with you, Joyce. We have,
And,
we
and
have
I always enjoy your company.
well, that's very kind. Debbie. Deborah. She didn't write Debbie, so maybe I shouldn't write Debbie either. Okay. We're going to need a little more. I only have the date, Debbie. I need a time and a city, but we can start in with February 3, 1952. Debbie, we need a time, exact time, and a city. It's pretty interesting stuff. Joyce Levine, everybody. While we're getting Debbie's time and place of birth, exact time. Joyce Levine can be reached at joycel@joycelevine.com, which I should pop up there. Again, I think it went away. So you can, if you're really interested in a detailed reading. What's the difference between what we're doing here and the real detailed reading? You're with a person like an hour, right?
2
hours.
2 hours.
What goes on in that 2 hours?
Believe me, there's nothing more interesting than yourself.
So
No, there's really a lot of information.
interesting.
Life
John
isn't
says no trouble. John says no trouble with authority. He has a trouble with stupidity. John, what did you do that was stupid?
Yeah, but what happens when the authority is stupid?
What give me an example of stupid, John. What did you do? I'd never heard of you doing anything dumb. Debbie, okay. No, we don't have any further information from Debbie. Can't do anything unless we get that. Oh, look at that. Mary from chilly Stratford, New Hampshire. It must be cold up there.
It's cold everywhere now.
Phil Rado. How you doing? Phil Rado. Hey, Phil, you want to get a reading? Phil Rado is a guy I almost worked for. This is super interesting. He has transformed his life. We were talking about retirement and looking at things in a new way. Phil Rado was the boss at WGBH, the wonderful radio station and media outlet. And one day he said, I'm done. I'm going to change my life. And now he lives in Maine and he makes music for real. He just put out a CD. Phil, what's the name of your CD? If you want, I'll send you an invitation. You can join us live, but you haven't been prepared. But if you want a reading, give us the time, date, place of your birth. If not, that's cool. All right, we're not getting anything from Deborah. I suppose we should wrap it up now. It's been a half an hour. We're actually over the half an hour mark. So what I wanted to achieve here is to reintroduce Joyce to you, let you know how it works, let you know how fun it is, and how helpful it might be. And one important thing that is self-fulfilling prophecy. It must factor into what you do. If someone thinks they're going to be successful, they will put things in motion to be successful, correct? And if someone thinks they're not going to be, that also might cause them to not be.
Well, I think some of that's true, but I think that the other side of it is, there's times in life where things are just out of your control. I think we've all had periods of our life that it seemed like, no matter what you did, nothing worked.
Yeah.
And there are other periods of life that, it's sort of like no matter what you did, something did work.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at his note. It's stupid people in authority.
Right.
But it disappeared before I could read the whole thing.
Sorry. Says I'd love to produce. I didn't realize you produced an official show, John. Geez, you must have told me that, and I must have forgotten. You're a great radio producer. So Joyce, the takeaway for Joyce is probably valuable information. If working is a thing you want to do, a career direction change might be helpful. So John's been responsible for many of the guests on my program, and he's got a good eye for what makes a good guest. Thanks to Phil Rado for watching, by the way. Phil, if you're out there, I would just love to do a show once a week. And I know Phil's plugged into radio world. I can do it in the station. I can do it from here. It's not crucial, but a once a week thing would be really, really round out my life. It would be perfect. Joyce, thank you very much. All the best to you. I can't wait till COVID goes away. Can't wait.
I
I'm
know.
actually thinking of booking a trip today, Joyce. How about that? I know you like to travel.
I know, but where are you going to go now? I mean, that's the whole thing.
Guess where?
Where can
Guess.
you get in?
Well, you can get in a lot of places. It's a hassle, and getting back is a hassle. And I have to remember that. Recently went to Rome, and it was a hassle. It was during the lull. And I have to try to remember when factoring in whether to go or not. The hassle.
Well, also a lot of places are not everything's open.
Yeah, well, I think Greece, Athens was going to be the place because I found decent airfare, and I look at the charts. I spent a lot of time going online checking COVID levels in all these countries. And as you may know, South Africa, it's very low. They've passed their fourth peak, and Greece is on the downturn. But I have to decide: is it worth it? Like, my life is traveling, and I can't do it, so I feel lazy. Yet, you don't want to press it too much, and you think, well, maybe
traveling to a different state rather than going out.
Yeah, well, I considered that, but I have friends in Florida. Florida doesn't even count. It doesn't really count as traveling. Really, wow. Do I go down there and hang out in some sweaty place like Miami for 3 days? I don't know.
Cold weather, right?
You know what? That's another thing. I'm tired. I'm done with the cold weather. I'm kind of tired of it. I feel trapped. I'm very wimpy this year. I'm cowering in my little home, waiting for the weather to get better, waiting for the COVID to go away. And I used to be so mentally about it. I used to get out there in the freezing cold. I did go up for a hike with my brother. I need to do that again. So I'm in flux. Okay. Enough about me, Joyce. I'm actually looking at booking Athens today. Found a really good fare. One problem with the airlines these days, what they're doing is they'll give you a cheap fare, but they'll give you only 31 inches of seat. That's very tight. In order to get the extra leg room, which used to only cost $100 each way, you have to upgrade to Comfort Plus, which is $600. So in order for to get the Comfort Plus, it goes from $5-something to $11.69. Is that worth it for 5 hours? I don't know. I don't want to be.
Depends on how much money you have.
8 hours. It doesn't. Because I could certainly afford it, but the reason I could afford it is I didn't do that in the past. And I sit there thinking, oh, this is like $100 an hour sitting in this seat that's 7 inches bigger. Is that worth it? I could take that extra $600 and buy really nice hotels with it. So I could just suck it up for 10 hours.
With the price of gas isn't likely to go down anytime soon, so the airlines are not likely to reduce rates.
All right. Yeah, I know. That's right. Plus demand's going to skyrocket, etc. Well, always pleasant just to do two things: the professional Joyce and the hangout Joyce. So, and we did both today. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So if you want to contact the best and get the best advice that you can get out there, as far as I know, when it comes to astrology, and I've had a lot of experience. People love her. Joyce L at joycelevine.com. Joyce Levine, as always, thank you so much. And you hope you enjoy the day and the week and the month till we talk again.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me.
Bye all. Bye, Joyce.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. And we'll be clear in about